We're like, how in the world are we going to figure out how to prevent these events from happening if we can't even figure out what happened, if people won't even talk to us? They won't tell us their stories. They won't share with us the lessons they learned that we can then help other people learn vicariously, so that we don't have to learn by trial and error, but we can learn by other people's actions, right? And so we were kind of stuck. I personally interviewed some of the folks on the Kramer fire a full decade and a half after the Kramer fire, and they told me about the implosion that happened on their district, where they knew what happened on 30 Mile, they knew criminal litigation was on the table, and so when they came in to get interviewed, it was a fairly cohesive unit, just a normal unit at the beginning before the accident happened. But after the accident happened, they all turned on each other and they started pointing fingers and they started saying, I never thought that person was qualified for their job. And they were saying things to protect themselves and throwing other people under the bus. And a decade and a half later, I'm talking to people and they're saying, our unit still has not recovered. We still have adverse outcome. We still have bad blood as a result of that accident review, right? So we did not emerge stronger. We didn't learn. We didn't become better. In fact, we became worse. And it turned into an exercise in power dynamics, right? The most powerful people aligned, and one person got scapegoated, and this is a super complex event, but we need to figure out whose head's gonna roll. Who are we gonna say is whose fault it is? Who's in charge, on the ground, and making the calls, and that person is the person that's gonna get the criminal liability, right? So why in the world would you wanna be an incident commander? People started turning down assignments. And it was a nasty situation all the way around. And so we had to do some introspection, and we had to ask ourselves, what does a successful accident review look like?